we start with the final topic of Decision Week, and that is, should the Eagles draft a quarterback? This, I think, is the most obvious answer of any of the days that we've done for Decision Week. Obviously, the Eagles should draft a quarterback. The Eagles always draft quarterbacks. Absolutely no one knows. No one knows. Even the biggest Jalen Hurts fan in the world has no idea how Jalen Hurts is going to adjust to what the Eagles want to do on offense. They have no idea. We have no idea if Jalen Hurts is ever going to run again. We have no idea if he's going to become a better passer. And if the answers to those questions is no, I don't know, the Eagles need as many solutions as possible as they can have if their future is not Jalen Hurts. Could they eventually trade for a big-name quarterback? They could. Could they eventually sign a free agent quarterback? Of course they could. But another way to get a quarterback is to have one in your system that you liked at the draft and you developed. And they need as many of those avenues as possible. So going into the draft this year, I really don't think it's controversial at all to say the Eagles should be planning for their future and they should draft a quarterback in the first few rounds. I just think it's basic stuff here, Ike.
You got it all out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How many ways can I count the wrong in this idea of drafting a quarterback? How many ways can I count the wrongs in the idea of drafting a quarterback this year? First of all right, let's say they do draft a quarterback.
Yes.
Drafting a quarterback in a round higher than the fourth round is just a wasted draft pick. I would even say a fourth round pick with a quarterback is a wasted draft pick.
When you say higher, you mean lower, right? Like you mean fourth, fifth, sixth.
No, higher. When I say fourth, third, or second round.
Oh, you mean really?
Yeah, they should not do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Didn't we just draft a quarterback, a young developing quarterback? What the hell happened to him?
Kyle McCord was on the practice squad. I believe
play.
he was a sixth-round pick.
Yeah, can't play.
Okay.
Can't play. That's one reason why you shouldn't do it. We just wasted a pick on a quarterback. We didn't get anything out of him. No offense to all the McCord family that's in the area.
Right.
I know he went to St. Joe's Prep.
Right.
Thank you for clearing up.
Get that out there. No offense to the family.
Might have a good career. You never
kid
know.
just caught a stray.
Yes.
That's all. I'm cooking right now. Secondly, this is not a good year to be drafting quarterbacks. Just isn't. I mean, they got one quarterback in this draft, maybe two. The rest of these guys stink. I mean, the rest of these guys are destined to be backup quarterbacks. And when you're a career backup, it's a lot easier to recognize backups. That's why my eyes see a lot of career backup quarterbacks coming out in this year's draft. We don't need to be drafting backup caliber quarterbacks. It's not a good year for quarterbacks. Don't waste it. Thirdly, now this is the most obvious reason why you don't draft a quarterback, but I'm going to slow roll this one in here. Jalen Hurts is the damn quarterback. What is he, 26, 27 years old?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't need a quarterback. We don't need a quarterback. We don't need to create more of a uncertain atmosphere around the quarterback that's already here. Now, they were fortunate the last time they did something like this. I don't believe they drafted Jalen Hurts a year after they gave Carson Wentz the amount of money they gave him to replace Carson Wentz within a year. But you know what happened? They had to replace Carson Wentz within a year because, in part, you drafted someone that made him look over his shoulder. Eventually, his leadership at that position got questioned in the locker room throughout the city. He lost his hold on the team as being the face of the franchise and the starting quarterback. And from that point on, his career in Philadelphia pretty much was over. Now, you could say Jalen Hurts is more mentally tougher than Carson Wentz. I might even agree with that. Bottom line is every quarterback has an insecurity bone in their body. And when you start drafting guys that appear to be their replacement, you are asking for trouble. You are creating an atmosphere that says we're uncertain about this guy as the face of our franchise. And while you may be trying to motivate him to play better, in that sense, you're also creating doubt within the building, within the city, and now you're creating doubt in his mind as to how much committed you are to him as the quarterback moving forward, which is also part of the reason why I believe Wentz wanted out after that year. Let's not forget about that. I don't think it was the Eagles' choice to move on from Carson Wentz when they did. He sort of forced their hand because he wanted out, because he no longer wanted to be here. We don't need to do that with Jalen Hurts. He's a guy that's been healthy. With Wentz, I can understand where the questions come in at, health-wise, most importantly. We don't have that issue with Jalen Hurts. He pretty much plays 15 to 16 games a season. And here's the other thing. If you have some doubt about Jalen Hurts, which some people do, that will want to draft a quarterback, here's the final reason as to why I wouldn't draft a quarterback this year. I like Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee is in his 4th year. He's going to be a free agent after next year. If it's so important to have somebody in place, if Jalen doesn't work out, I feel more comfortable with Tanner McKee as that potential guy than I would anybody you would draft this year. So it's a wasted draft pick. You can address other needs on the team. You have a quality backup quarterback in place that if Jalen doesn't work out the way you want him to, Tanner is there if you believe in him like we hear the organization believes in Tanner McKee. And it'll be a lot cheaper to re-sign him, give him a deal that is structured with incentives and everything else, so you would still have a lowered price at the quarterback position while having a guy here that's been in your building for 4 years and would have already had a leg up on a year of learning Sean Mannion's system. There are so many reasons not to draft a quarterback and continue to invest in Jalen Hurts and getting the best out of Jalen Hurts. That doesn't mean create issues by bringing someone in here that he has to look over his shoulders. Continue to develop Jalen Hurts. He has a new system to learn. Let's roll.
215-592-9494. Decision week, today's question, should the Eagles draft a quarterback? Before we get to the calls, I just want to address a couple of things that you said there, Ike Reese.
Okay.
The first thing you said was you think that drafting a quarterback will create doubt around Jalen Hurts within the building, within the city, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has created doubt. Like, if Jalen Hurts was playing better, was passing better, was improving as a passer, was running, all that doubt, there wouldn't be any doubt. We wouldn't even be thinking about this. And if we picked a quarterback, that quarterback wouldn't be threatened because that quarterback would know, well, actually, I'm really, really good.
Well, it depends on what you're picking.
Well,
you pick him in the second round. You're raising everyone's antennas.
I think the doubt has been created by Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. That is my first thing.
That's fine.
And the second thing is, as far as liking Tanner McKee or thinking that Jalen's the guy, my point is, I don't want to put all my eggs in any of their baskets. I don't want to put all my eggs in Jalen's basket. I don't want to put all my eggs in Tanner McKee's basket. I don't want to put all my eggs in the basket of, okay, we could trade for Joe Burrow after this year. I want as many. Well, I don't know. I don't know which one of these things is going to work, so I want to have as many possibilities as they can. That's why I like that they draft Kyle McCord. Did it work? No. It doesn't look like it's going to work, but it's worth a try. All these things are worth a try because you never know who's going to pop. You never know when you're going to get a Brock Purdy. You never know when you're going to get even Jalen Hurts. You never know when you're going to get a quarterback.
Jalen Hurts came in the second round.
Okay, so take a quarterback in the second round.
He was a Heisman Trophy finalist.
So take a quarterback in the second round then.
No. I need a cornerback. I need a wide receiver in the second round. I don't need a quarterback that create issues here that it automatically says we're preparing to fail. Is that what we're doing?
No.
We drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round, and we went 4-11-1.
You see it as preparing to fail. I see it as preparing to succeed. I can't know. Howie Roseman's job is to look at the next 3 to 5 years of Eagles football and say, how are we going to succeed? And you need as many, and that is the most important position. We've all agreed.
Yep.
And you need to have as many possible opportunities to win at that position as you have. And drafting a quarterback is one of them.
They were fortunate that it worked out that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that he's become. They were fortunate. They were fortunate. There's nothing that will ever convince me that they envisioned Jalen Hurts taking over for Wentz and leading them to a Super Bowl.
And if they hadn't taken that shot, it would have never happened.
But I think part of that was because Wentz got injured again. And so that was frustrating to a lot of people.
Sure.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the pick, but at least I can understand from their perspective of he's injury prone. We got to have somebody in place that if in a year or two they need to take over because he can't stay healthy. We've at least developed somebody. I'm saying Jalen wind up taking over sooner than they expected him to take over, and they wind up having to accelerate after 2021, which was a rebuilding year.
Yep.
We saw that was a developmental year. They said we got to upgrade the talent on the team. They did that in 2022, and it's been on and popping ever since then. We don't have that in position other than can a Tanner McKee turn into that guy? Because he's been here. Can he turn into that guy? And that's why I'm saying at least I have him on the roster already, and I like Tanner McKee. I don't like the quarterbacks coming out in this year's draft, so I'm not about to force a draft pick on a quarterback that I don't think has that type of a ceiling. If your ceiling is you're a backup, then I don't need to waste a pick on you. I can go get a backup. I have a great backup on my roster already. Unless I'm taking someone that I feel like can be the starter, if Jalen doesn't work out, it's a wasted pick. We got way too many other issues. Offensive line, wide receiver, cornerback, tight end if we don't bring Dallas Goedert back. Talk to me.
215-592-9494. The final day of decision week. Should the Eagles take a quarterback in this year's draft? I say yes. Ike, of course, says no.